Alright, welcome back to another video in the HTML and CSS web development course. So in the last video we started our new website. We learned about the div class on container. We learned a little bit of width, height, minimum width and max width. And we learned that when you have an image inside a container, the image doesn't always adopt the changes you make on your container. So in this video we're going to talk about margin and padding. So the first thing, margin. Margin is always used when you want to add some spacing outside the element. So in this case, you want to create some spacing around the container. And we're going to start with container 1. So let's say we have margin, right? So we have margin, top, left, bottom, right. And let's say we want to make some extra space on top. So we're going to call margin top and we're going to give this 50 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to save this, go back to the website, and as you can see now, when you refresh, there's more space on either side. And because we gave our container one a max width, we can also play with the margin left and margin right. So let's say we want to give this a margin on the left of 120 pixels, and we're going to give this a margin dash right of also 120 pixels. Save this, go back to the website. So, as you can see now, the container keeps resizing, it keeps resizing. And that's a little bit what margin does. And so, for example, you have your, you want some extra margin at the bottom as well. You can also use margin bottom. Bottom, and we're gonna do 50px. Save it, and now it creates more margin on the bottom, and the same you can do for container 2. So let's say you're going to give this a margin top of 50px, save it, go back, nothing happens, and that is because it sorry, I forgot the px. Because there's already a margin bottom of 50, so the margin top of 50 is not being adopted, because there's already information there that says, okay, I need 50 pixels between the first container and the second container. But we can still do a margin left, and we're going to do this 80 pixels, and we're going to give this a margin dash right of also 80 pixels, and we're going to give this a margin dash bottom of 50 pixels. Save this, go back to the website. So, as you can see, now both containers are really nice and they are resizing, and that is pretty nice. And it looks pretty good. Another way to do this, what you can do, if you like this, you can give your width, you can give your system a fixed width, right? So let's say you give this, wait a second, you can also use the width of auto, and you can also use margin auto if you want to. So if you want auto, save it, and now it will resize with the whole viewport. So with the whole website, it will keep resizing, right? But what you can do, when you give this a fixed width of 600 pixels, you give this margin left and margin right of auto. That also works. So now the container is always centering, but because you give it a fixed width, when the view gets too small, it doesn't resize anymore. So what you do, instead of width, you use max width, save this, 600 pixels, you go back, and now it keeps resizing. So now you made your website a little bit more resizable friendly. This looks really good actually. So let's say you have, like in this case, you have the H2, right? And you want to give this header to a class. So give this a class of welcome-h2. Save this. So on the container 1, I'm gonna open up dot welcome-h2. Open it up. And let's say we want to give this some spacing, right? Because it's really on the side of the container. In this case, we can call padding. We're gonna call padding left of 20 pixels. Padding dash right of also 20 pixels. Then we save this, go back, and now we have some more information. Now we have some more space on either side of the H2. So let's say we're gonna give the H1 instead of text line to left, we're gonna give this a text align of center. Save. Now it's really nice aligned. So now we created with padding, we created space inside of a container. So inside what is inside the container. And that's what we did with the H2. So we give some padding, really nice and centered. And that's a little bit the difference between margin and padding. Margin is outside and padding is inside. So if you want spacing on the outside, you use margins. And if you want spacing on the inside, you use margins. You can do the same in container 1. So let's say we want to add some padding dash right of 50 pixels. And we're gonna add some padding on the left. Oh, 50 pixels. Let's see what happens. Now we created more spacing on the inside as well. So in this case, now we have like around, I think around 100 pixels. And now when you make it smaller, the padding stays the same and the H2 is resizing. That's pretty cool. And we can do the same for container 2 because it already has the margins. And we're gonna add some padding as well. Padding is left. We make this 80 pixels. We're gonna padding dash right, also 80 pixels. And it doesn't have to be the same numbers all the time, right? You can also, if you don't want to have it centered, you can do something else. But I really like having stuff centered, so when we renew this, now everything is centered in the middle. That's off in the middle, that's pretty cool actually, because now, because we work on this side, it doesn't resize really good, because we have the fixed padding. And when you want to align this, we're gonna give this another class, and we're gonna call the welcome dash h2 class again. And in the h3 we can call those as well, so we're gonna paste these ones in. Oh. So now it's really nice and centered. So let's say we have the image container right, and we're gonna give this a margin of left of auto. I'm gonna give this margin dash right of auto. When we save this, the image should, or the container should be centered, and the container is centered, just the content inside isn't centered yet. So let's say what happens when we use padding, or when we use margin on the image. Dash left of auto. When I work with images, as you can see, nothing happens. And that is really weird. It should. Let's see what happens if we change this padding. Still nothing happens. And this is, and now comes the secret. This is because we don't have a display yet. So we're going to display this. And we're going to call block. And now it should center. And now it's really nice and centered. This looks really nice. So this is a little bit how margin and margin left, margin right, and top works. You can give this like all kinds of values, like pixels. If you want to have like two different containers on the same side or beside each other, you can work with rows in the future, because we're going to do that. And then it's really nice to work with margin and padding. And don't forget, when you work with margin, margin is for outside and padding is for inside. So when you want to have some spacing inside the container, you use padding. If you want margin or spacing on the outside, you use margin. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next video.